a teacher, you know that teaching reading is one of the most important tasks that you'll face. But with so many different approaches to reading instruction out there, it can be tough to know which one is best. In this episode, we'll take a closer look at two approaches to reading instruction, phonics and whole language. We'll debunk some of the myths surrounding both approaches, and I'll provide you a comprehensive guide to help decide which one is best for your students. Stay tuned. What's kicking, educational rock stars? Welcome back to another episode of Teaching Made Easy. I'm the Center Fairy, your ultimate source into the wonderful world of simple classroom systems that actually work so that you can finally get back to what you love, teaching. If this is your first time joining me here on the channel, be sure you hit that like and that subscribe button and click that bell so that you get notified when I go live or upload a new video here on the channel. First, let's start by defining what we mean by phonics and whole language. Phonics is an approach to reading instruction that focuses on teaching students to decode words by sounding them out, using their knowledge of letter-sound relationships. This approach is often used in the early stages of reading instruction and is designed to help students build a strong foundation in phonemic awareness, or the ability to hear and manipulate sounds in spoken language, and phonics skills, the ability to match sounds and letters. On the other hand, whole language is an approach to reading instruction that emphasizes the meaning of words and the context in which they're used. This approach focuses on helping students develop reading comprehension skills through activities like read alouds, discussing literature, and writing about what they've read. So, which approach is best? Phonics or whole language? The answer isn't straightforward, as both approaches have their pros and cons. Let's take a closer look at some of the myths surrounding both approaches. Now, myth number one is that phonics is the only effective way to teach reading. While phonics is certainly an important part of reading instruction, it's not the only component. Research has shown that a balanced approach to reading instruction, one that combines phonics with some whole language, is the most effective way to teach reading. However, phonics is a necessary foundation for becoming an effective and comprehensive reader. Now, in the past few years, the buzzword has become science of reading, and everything is leaning away from any type of whole language approach. But I challenge you to look at some of the things from a whole language approach or whole reading approach that can be useful and marry it with the phonics. The majority of the reading instruction should take a very basic phonics approach, especially in the earlier grades, but that doesn't negate the fact that once students get to a certain point in their reading instruction, they do need some of those whole language approaches in order to become more comprehensive readers. Now, myth number two is that whole language is a natural way to learn to read, so it's the best approach. While it's true that children naturally learn to speak and comprehend language, reading is more complex, and it's a skill that requires some explicit instruction. While whole language can be a helpful approach to developing reading comprehension skills, it's not the only way to teach reading effectively. Students have to have a fundamental understanding of phonics, phonemic awareness, and phonological awareness before they can transition into that whole language reading. Now, myth number three is that phonics is boring and doesn't engage students. This simply isn't true. While it's important to keep your phonics instruction varied and engaging, there are plenty of fun and interactive ways to teach phonics skills to students. For example, you could use games, songs, and hands-on activities to help students practice their phonics skills. One of the reasons I'm creating my Phonics for All printables is to have quick and engaging activities for you to use with your students. The no prep printables in our bundle are perfect to supplement your small group lessons or use for early finisher activities inside your literacy centers. You can check them out by clicking the link in the description and jumping over to our shop. Now, myth number 4 is that whole language is too easy and doesn't prepare students for more advanced reading. Again, this just is simply not true. While whole language emphasizes the meaning of words and the context in which they are used, it also helps students develop important reading comprehension skills that are essential for success in later grades. So, which approach is right for your students? Ultimately, the best approach will depend on your students' needs and abilities. If you have students who are struggling with phonemic awareness or phonics skills, you may want to focus more on a phonics-based instruction. On the other hand, if you have students who are already very strong readers, you may want to focus on a more whole language approach and other approaches that are going to help your students develop higher level reading comprehension skills. Both phonics and whole language are important approaches to reading instruction, and a balanced approach that combines both is the most effective way to teach reading. By debunking the myths surrounding both approaches, I hope that I've provided you with some information that you're going to need in order to make an informed decision about which approach is best for your students. Now, if you're looking for more tips, strategies, and simple systems to take back into your classroom to make your teacher life easier, check out the other videos on your screen. Thanks for watching, and keep being an educational rock star.